have now the Iran money in the hands of the different countries. One of the big examples is South Africa. He's fighting against Israel because he has Iran money. What do you think about it?
What kind of money?
Iran.
Iranian money. It's not just Iranian money.
Yeah, man.
They don't have money. They got schmatters. Okay. There are 3 banks engaged in illegal transactions to support Hamas in South Africa. That addresses that one question. But there's an entire system, an entire ecosystem of fraudulence. You have billions of dollars coming in from all these countries. You have fake refugees in fake refugee camps supported by a fake refugee agency and a fake body of world peace, but with real money that could be paving your streets and educating your kinder. There were 2 refugee agencies. The ones my parents went to when my father survived as a partisan in the woods with my mother and lived for 2 years in a DP camp, and for the Rohingyas, and for all the other refugees, Ukrainian and everything else, they all go to the UN Refugee Agency. But the Arabs get their own aid agency called UNRWA, UNRWA. And that means that not only is the actual person of the period, 1948, a refugee, but all their generations forever are refugees. That means that a man born a millionaire in a mansion in Miami to parents who also lived millionaires born in Miami, those people are refugees. Why? Has anyone asked yourself the question? Is there a refugee camp in Ramallah, the home of the PA? They're running the country. Why are they keeping people in refugee camps? Am I a refugee? My parents came to Chicago in 1950, and I was born in Chicago in 1950. I'm not a refugee. You come to a place of safety, you're no longer a refugee. My daughter is not a refugee. My granddaughter is not a refugee. But that's not how it is in the Palestinian side. And so, there are now hundreds of thousands of refugees who are not refugees, who are not seeking refuge from any place, who are in a place of their own home, their own administration, and they're called refugees. And they're in refugee camps. These refugee camps, my parents were in refugee camps, in DP camps. What kind of a refugee camp has high-rise buildings, 4-star hotels, luxury malls, super-duper pizza shops, clothing boutiques? They could just pick their tuchuses up and walk outside, walk across the street, have a Starbucks, and they're free. They want them. They want them. So you have fake refugee, none of whom were covered in the original Refugee Act in reality, in fake refugee camps, so that when the cameras go on, people can cry and weep. And they're supported by UNRWA, which is an absolute terrorist hotbed of a mechanism that teaches children 5, 6, 7 years of age to kill the Jews in summer camps I've exposed this on my show, The Edwin Black Show, teaches them to kill Jews and to be killed, killing Jews, become shaheed, so their mothers can say, I hope they have two more kids so they can also become shaheeds. Run, and millions and billions of dollars are going into this fake refugee agency, which, by the way, the headquarters in Gaza was directly above the server farm in the tunnels. I don't know how many of you are high-tech, but they have racks and racks of servers with refrigeration rooms and electricity and backup units, all coming down from that. It was a complete terror society. And this is all coordinated by a fake body of world peace called the United Nations, formulated, it's fake, invented by 5 countries, US, UK, France, okay, but also Maoist China and Stalinist Russia. And they constitute the P5, the permanent 5, and nothing can happen in the United Nations without the approval of China and Russia. And that's why nothing has been done about the Ukraine, and nothing, the aggression in Ukraine, nothing has been done about the genocide against the Uyghurs, because this is a fake body of world peace that didn't even want to separate the Egyptians and the Israelis after the Sinai disengagement treaty. And it took the place of another fake agency called the League of Nations, which never did anything to stop Hitler, never did anything to stop Mussolini in Africa, never did anything to stop the rape of Nanking in China, never did anything to stop the massacres of people in fascist Spain. Didn't do a thing, and then they dissolved themselves with this new Stalinist Russia, and they made the United Nations. Same organization. The International Criminal Court of Justice was previously called the Permanent International Criminal Court of Justice. Not criminal, but Civil Court of Justice. It was invented in it was invented in 1920. And one of its first cases was whether Jewish Palestine, which was mandated from one end of the area all the way into what is now known as Jordan, whether that could legally be divided up into 2 states. And so the money is coming from the US government. The money is coming from UK. The money is coming from Mexico. It's coming directly, door to door. It's coming in airplanes, in the sky. It's coming in the rivers. It's coming through NGOs. It's coming from Soros. It's coming from all these many sources. It's not just Iranian money. Iranian money is probably the least of what's supporting the so-called refugees in Gaza. And the Iranian money, which came, where did the Iranians get this money? They got it from the United States, and they got it in big money, and with this, they supplied Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah Kataib in Iraq and in Syria. And so they're focusing their efforts on the nuclear program, and on the military efforts to kill Israel. And Qatar is part of the whole thing. How do you have a country that has become indispensable to the victims and the victimizers simultaneously, with fabulous connections to the U.S. military and Hamas and the Taliban at the same time, when our very largest base in the Middle East is sitting right next to Doha? How is that possible? Money talks, and when it does, nobody balks.